It's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. It's beautiful, wonderful spring. I love all the spring buds and blooms. The hope of new life, and lots of it's definitely coming up and looking great. Although our late and hard freeze got some things, my cactus, if you'll remember, were in this one, and this one held my cactus, so they're gone. But we did make a trip to Sunshine, and I got another, and hopefully it will be back, and I'll fill both of them up with just this, with starts from this one little panicle. You can tell it's already got a little, if I could get it where it's in focus, you can see that little place where it's starting a new panicle. So we got that, and you can also see that I got several more things. I'm going to begin my planting soon. Last night, actually, the temperatures got down to 47, I believe, maybe even lower for a while. So it was cool. It's a little cool this morning, but not that much. We do have the garden cleaned out, and I am, I'm sitting on this swing, so I'm swinging. But anyway, this one. But there's just so much to do, and I have been so tired. It's just been more than this old person can handle. That's the truth. It has been. It's gotten me to where I'm just totally sick. So I have several different things, including arthritis and allergies that bother me, and just a lot of things. But I told my daughter yesterday that, you know, I've always believed that we find a way, because even though I wouldn't want you to see the way I do some things, because I can't use my knees, I have to push up with my hands, put the pressure on my hands instead of my knees or my feet even, because the knee is what's going to hold you up. So it's just not an easy task for me to do, but I still feel it in my heart to do it. Another thing I've also believed is that people do things they can't do every day. Not each one of us every day doing something we can't do, but somebody somewhere every day is doing something they can't do. Just trying to get that butterfly picture there for you, but it's really true. One time I was explaining the hours that we worked, and we worked back to back when we were working overtime in the plant, and it was just like almost impossible. And someone said, "Oh, she can't mean that. You couldn't do that." And it made me realize that very thing, that people actually do what they can't do all the time. They just can't do it and can't go any farther, and yet they manage somehow. I know it's with God. It's with the helping grace of God that helps us to go on and to do what He desires for us to do. But we're still human, and it's still very hard sometimes. I hate to be down when it's spring, because I love spring so much. I love this beautiful redbud tree, and I haven't got any really great pictures of it. I haven't been out here when the sun is kind of behind the clouds, not casting shadows and light on it. Because sometimes the sun, like right now, look at that, it's green. How beautiful the sun is making it. But sometimes it just makes it a dark silhouette, and then a bright spot, a white spot. So it's kind of hard to get pictures in the sunlight. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you a little bit of what we've been doing. And even though, oh, and another thing we've been doing is I have been laying my garden hoses. There's way more that still need to be laid than that are laid. But I am trying just a regular garden hose with holes poked in it, because everything else that I have tried has been stopped up by the uh, gyp or just hard water elements in our well water, which I have to use for the garden. So I'm trying again. I literally have to find something. I have to find something that will help me to be able to enjoy the garden some. Last year I did not get to sit here in this little swing and dream. I sat here a couple or so times and had something to drink and then got back to work. So, but I can't keep on doing that. I literally cannot keep on doing that. Even though you can do it for a little while, I've got to find a way to get myself some help with it. And I'm hoping that that will be a way, if I can get it to where it will just do the stuff on the ground, then I can go around and do the stuff in the pots, and it won't take 5 to 8 hours every day, and that will clear up some time for me and help me be able to do some other things. So that's the plan, that's the hope. And as I was saying, I'm going to get started on the pots and putting things in the pots. And so we had a shopping day, which I loved. I love going to the Sunshine Nursery, even though it's not going the way it has in the past. It's kind of down. But because of COVID, that's part of it. And then it just I'm not exactly sure, just different changes that's been made. But I think it will maybe pick up and go again, because it's just certainly beautiful enough of a spot too, out in the country, where you can just enjoy it. On my Instagram I put several pictures that we took along the way of an old church house, the little cottage house that's down by the nursery, and just several things. Of course, the red bud in bloom by a stream, and just wonderful things that we enjoyed as we went by it, and just looking around at the plants. And I got several things at each of them, and of course at Walmart too. I like Walmart. I like the Walmart nursery, because they continue to have stuff even after the other nurseries are shut down, and they also have the little 6-packs still, which I'm grateful for. And then of course I like Janie's and Ace. I can't remember I think I got this one from Janie's. Yes, that's right. And then the some of the verbena I got from Ace, because they have the little 4-packs that I also like. I prefer to start out with a smaller plant and put it in my pots, and because it's a cost issue. But also, a plant will grow the same size whether it starts out its full size or whether it starts out a root, or just a little piece of one. It will grow to be the same size. Of course, that is if you have luck with the plant anyway, because there's so much that can happen to them. There's just so much that can happen with insects, winds. Just, I can't think of it all now, but of course voles and moles and all that stuff. And also look at this beautiful mandevilla. One year I got this, and I really wanted the bright red or the bright pink. At that time, this is what I found. But I found out that I love this in the garden. It's just such a beautiful color. I would like to have one every year in my garden. And of course, I still like the bright pink and bright red too, but this one turned out to be a really special plant for me. And my roses, a lot of them are simply, they were coming up and doing great, and we had that last freeze, and they're having to start over from the bottom. And some of them are, you can see this one by this little sunflower decorative thing, that there is some roses coming up, but all the roses that are on top of it have not yet and may not come out of it. I may have to trim those back again down to where the live ones are, but I'll just have to wait and see on that. So the garden is, oh gosh, it's just so hard. I have to tell you, it's very hard. It's not an easy thing to garden, and yet it's a wonderful thing too. I get so discouraged sometimes by it being so physically hard for me to do, and I know I got way too much for just, but this is always meant to be something more than just a hobby. I know it is. I have a DVD, and but I know I need to get a different medium, but still, if I could get it going, I just know that it would work, or there's something else that God has in mind for it. I just feel that there's something, and as long as I have that feeling that God wants to do something with it, I will keep doing the best that I can with it. But next, I'll be anxious to start putting the little flowers together, and I'm going to try some tomatoes. I try them every year. I never do well with tomatoes, but I just can't help but try it. I love a garden tomato. They're just so much better. They don't even compare to the ones you buy at the grocery store. But anyway, I'll be anxious to put all these beautiful plants. Look at this one, if you can get an idea, or if it'll show up enough to see. This is called Tangerine Tattoo Periwinkle, and it's just gorgeous. I did find also a Penta, and then where's that one little plant? Maybe here down under my chair. Let me look, because these are my shade plants. So I'll put them down under here, and see these. I want to use these with strawberry drop coleus, maybe in a strawberry pot. And then I'm not seeing that one. Let me just come over here, because and look at these beautiful periwinkles here. I love this pretty violet or purple, pale purple color. I love this salvia too, and this is a woody salvia. I lost mine this time too due to that cold, but I wanted to show you there was a new plant that I hadn't seen. Now, of course, these are the beautiful coleus, and I did not find just a redhead coleus. I'll definitely want one of those, but these are gorgeous too. And the alyssum, oh my, the alyssum is a gorgeous plant too, and it's especially gorgeous in the fall. You about give up on it, and then in the fall it really begins to shine. So I will be anxious to get all these into pots. Let me go over here, because I've got to find that one that I show. Okay, here it is. This one right here, and I'm not sure. See, when I first looked at it, I thought, oh, that's a Penta. But then I looked at the foliage, and oh, that looks like a periwinkle. So this is what it says. It's and I don't know how to pronounce that. CatharantHus, but it's gorgeous. I hope it will do well. We'll see what it will do this year. Oh, well, you know, I had to get Calabachoa, even though I'm terrible with it, but I'm going to give it another try. And there's some more of that beautiful alyssum, reminding me of the candy tuft that's growing in my garden right beside it. And that's another thing I would love to do, is after we get a good rain and the ground is soft, I would like to dig these up and divide them and put them on up this beside my pathway. I would love to have them all the way up beside this black border to where they would just spill over as this one is doing onto over the border. Looks so good. Also, my black and blue salvia did not come back, and it is a tender perennial, so I had a feeling it probably would not when that freeze came. If I would have thought, I would have taken, well, I wouldn't have taken this in because it was not, it wasn't even up yet, but I would have taken in my cactus, because I could have broken off a little panicle and put it inside and then started over again once I realized it was going to get down that low. But I didn't think of it, and I had them covered with plastic, so I was hoping that they would make it, but of course they did not. But I will be anxious to get all these beautiful plants in pots, and hopefully I'll be able to put them in a way that they will shine and look the best together. I also purchased these gorgeous roses, but then after I purchased them I realized they're only hardy to zone 5 and we're a zone 7, so I will have to make these house plants, which I don't do well with house plants. I ended up losing my this little purple waffle plant, and it looked so good, but last year I did not bring it in soon enough. Even though it looked great when I brought it in, it had had enough of the cold weather that it did not do great once it got inside. But I'm hoping it did. See, that's another thing I should have brought in last night because it got down pretty low, but hopefully it'll be okay, and we'll just have to try it and see and hope for the best. I got these Dusty Miller, of course, because a Dusty Miller looks beautiful with anything, and anything looks better when it's beside a Dusty Miller, any color of plant. Look how the lilacs are blooming out. They look great, and they smell great, but they don't smell as wonderful as my neighbors do, because they are the old-fashioned, and that fragrance is just so strong and beautiful on them that it wafts right over into my garden, which I love. But I love these too, and they do have a little bit of a like a white edge around them. They're very pretty. Oh, and while I had my hand there, I'll show you that my nails are all gone now. This is the left hand, which did have some on it, but those little gloves that with the claws just didn't work at all, and I got busy with all the work of gardening. It's just a tremendous job. It's a tremendous job. But it's so much beauty. That's all you really think about if you're not out here working. You just think it's so beautiful and wants to work it. Just look at it. But if you garden, you know way so much better than that. But it's just these beautiful blooms. And when we have a beautiful day and can just enjoy it, that makes it worth all the other that we go through. I did also paint a few things, and this used to be an old fountain, and I actually used just the base of it and glued a pot on, and then this is a variegated dew plant or ice plant that's in here. And I think that's going to be pretty. Actually, it's already pretty. And I do have moss, little bits of moss coming up in here. And look at this beautiful alyssum. This is the perennial alyssum. I've also planted a few things that I had ordered through the mail, and this was one of them. This is called Redbirds in a Tree, and I'll want to get out here today and be sure and water this. I had babied at least 3 others, I think 4 others, and never got one to really get established and going, but I hope to. Oh, I hope this is it, and that this will one day be a big, beautiful plant. And I still haven't divided this, and I know I don't want to let this get so big that I can't divide it because it's too hard to divide. I want to be able to divide it. It's just too big for this little area, and once it gets big and kind of flops over a little bit, it just fills up everything. So I definitely want to get around to that if at all possible. This little pot I would love to move. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that because of course it's heavy with the dirt in there, and of course I had to go ahead and put foam filler on here to stabilize it, and it's still kind of leaning a bit, but not too badly. So I'm going to try to move this and put my little bistro set over here where it will have some type of shade, and where hopefully I can put my little chandelier with the birds on it down over the table and hook it to one of these limbs, because I think it's getting big enough now that I could do that. This little container that I've had water in for many years, but it just went. This time it leaks. It's leaking now, even though it's a slow leak now because I put this foam filler around the edges and some on the bottom of it. So I thought I maybe had it stopped, but I can tell it does have a slow leak in it. You can see the flowering almond is almost gone with its pretty pink spring blooms. So it all moves along just like life. It just moves along too fast sometimes. My daughter says, "Mom, you need to rest more. You need to let the garden go for a while and rest." And I know she's right, but at the same time, whenever you're resting, this is still going on and you still need to be out here. You're just getting farther and farther behind. It's hard to rest with that kind of stress. My husband is still trying to get the stumps burned out for me, and they're not going very fast, and we've had a lot of windy days too where he can't, which means I've got my little seating area just covered with things that I need to fill up and have pretty and put around it down here and get it off the seating area, but we'll get to that hopefully. And I was just thinking, we plan it and want it one way, but even though we can't get to everything, God's got it. It may not be the way we wanted or planned it, but it's all in His plan. He's going to take care of it, and I know that. It's just that, sometimes we can know something and still have a hard time with it. I think I told you that I put little dianthus starts around the picnic table because grass was coming up here, and I just decided that the dianthus would be much prettier than unwanted grass in this area. So hopefully one day this will all fill out and be pretty too. And this is of course the ice or dew plant. And these are the onion allium. So they're very pretty too when they bloom. Has a little ball up on top of it. So there's just much to do still, much that I've done and much more to do. I need to move this. It's a beautiful little bleeding heart plant, but it needs shade, and because my pear tree is gone, it doesn't have shade right now. Oh, and I'm just seeing that this has fallen off of its little place, which means I need to get some glue out here and get that back on. But along with all the stuff that does not get done in a timely manner, I hope you're able to see the beauty of the garden too, because it's there. Here's another hose that I'm planning on lining out through this area and then back around through this area. Look at this pretty hosta right here. Through this area. And I've got ordered some bear's britches. I don't know, but I'm thinking they will look good right in this area where, even though I've got bushes on both sides that kind of come into this area, you can tell that the bottom, that right there's nothing on the ground, and I would like to have them growing up there if that would work for me. I'm definitely going to give that a try, and that's why I also put the hose over in that area, because I would like to be able to water all this without being standing out here and doing it, hand watering it for all that length of time. But I was going to tell you that my hose, whenever I got it and opened it up and got it out here, it came with 2 male ends, no female ends. So we had to go into town, or my husband went in for me and got one of the little couplings that goes from female to female so that we could actually go ahead and hook it up. So I've got it hooked up now to the faucet, but I just need to go ahead and get it through here, and that's a very hard job for me. I don't bend well, get up and down well, and I don't really know exactly how I'm going to do it. It's just one of those things you just have to do without really even knowing how you're going to do it. Just get out here and start snaking it through. That's basically what I'll need to do, and hopefully I will get that done. Look at this beautiful 9 bark. You can have the colors of fall in the middle of spring and summer. I just love it. Peonies are coming up everywhere. Look at this one, and it even has big buds on it. It won't be very long now before they're open. Again, life just moves so fast. Also noticed that several of the things that I planted are not doing anything. They look like they're dead, and they may be. But you know, I've got to give out hope that they're not. I hope they're not. Here's another rose I'll have to trim back, but you can tell lots of it is still alive too, so that will be okay eventually. And I've had my lilies for many years actually, and I thought they were not going to proliferate, but I can tell now that they are proliferating and may even become a problem because there's so many of them. I'll have to dig them out and divide them, and practically all of my daylilies need dividing. And I told you I probably will not get around to that either. Maybe this fall, maybe. We'll see how it goes. So even though things happen in the garden that can get discouraging, there's just so much beauty too. Look at this beautiful tulip. I snaked this little hose through here. And it seems to be doing well. You can tell that it's watering it. So far it hasn't stopped up, and it's doing good. I can't remember which little peony I planted here. It may be the one that was purple, which was very pretty, and of course I know this is my do-tell, and you'll just have to see how beautiful it gets, because unless I can look back and find a picture of it to show you. Oh, it was so pretty. I got so many compliments on it. It looks like I need to take this, put one of these little pins come in handy for so many things you just wouldn't believe. But it looks like I need to put one up close to this one because it's sprinkling out on this side here, which is actually sprinkling nothing but this brick. And I don't think this brick is going to grow, but I do think this grass is going to grow right over there sooner than I want it to. Just look how the things have grown here on this west fence side. So big already. I did take a bunch, you can see where I used a bunch of this dianthus that was out over my pathway or my little border, and put it in different places where I needed it. Which worked great, just great, especially since a lot of it did die out. Now I also need, this one back here, I'm backtracking, but this is pincushion flower or scabiosa, and I definitely need to dig that up and divide it. I would like to put some, I had it in this little pot, but because pots do not get the same protection that in-ground plants do through the cold, and when it got cold it killed the ones in the pot. But there's plenty here in this one if I get myself around to where I can do it. But I'm going to have to put my hoses first, getting those laid. And I know I should probably be doing that instead of just doing this, but this is part of my plan too, and I don't want to fall back on doing it. Plus I just am enjoying it, and it's Saturday and I just want to have some enjoyment. I've got to get it to where I can take off parts of Saturday and Sunday. And these, I was going to say, are daisies, which need to be divided too. I would love to divide them and put them farther back here. Some of my, this is a Gara, a white swirling butterflies, Gara. And this little one right here in front of it, and there's also some right over here on the side, is the red salvia, and those just kind of swirl around together and look great. The ones in the front for some reason did die out. I'm pretty sure, I'm still waiting to see if they come back from the root, but most likely they're dead. So, but I can take just little snippets of this, put them down in rooting development, and take them around there and start them over again. I need to get this away from this little thing. It's just already got a good hold, looks like. But I need to get it off of there because I want to actually put it up here on this one, this trellis. So that won't take too much, but you know, it takes time. Everything seems to take time. And because I already had the string on here, I did go ahead and take the time to go ahead and push this up through the string. But it may be a good idea I waited because of the really high winds that we've had. Lots of times I'll put it up on the string so it can get a hold on the trellis, and the winds will blow it off and tear it and rip it up pretty good, or pretty well. But anyway, that's ready to go again. Look at this beautiful dianthus. And I have some iris blooming. It won't be long till iris will be blooming everywhere. This is a little pot that I'm anxious to get filled. All of these along here, actually, I'll be anxious to fill. Oh wow, look at this. It's also reached out and got on this other trellis, but it's so tall. I don't know if I may take it off that trellis or I may leave it, but right now I don't have to make that decision. I'm terrible with making decisions. The beautiful Baptisia is fixing to put on its little bud-like blooms. There's another another, you probably can't see because I can't see how to hold this and do this, but I'm trying to weave this a little bit through here too so that it will grab hold of the string around the trellis instead of taking off on its own and going on the ground or somewhere. There's another sprig I probably should try to get going up the trellis. Once it gets a start up, it knows where to go. So lots of pots to be filled, lots of pretty greenery coming on, lots of dead stems from the roses, but thankfully most all of them, not all, but most all are coming back from this root. I didn't think this one was going to. It's so dead looking, but you can tell down at the bottom that it is coming back. So that's great. Mold tunnel or vole tunnel, I don't know which, but I so hate those things. This is the little chandelier that I want to get back up over the little bistro set, and of course there's nothing there now to hang it on, so that's why I'm hoping to get it over. So I had to go in and get a recharged battery. That I was saying that I would like to get this little bird chandelier over my bistro table and get it all moved over to under the weeping willow tree, and then hopefully get the three-tiered one over in this area somewhere. This little three-tiered pot. These little reblooming iris that my friend Renata gave me are the first to bloom, and then they bloom again in the fall. This is the fall clematis that clematis that I also need to tie upward so it will reach its little vine up and get a hold of this vine twine that I've got on here and go on up this trellis. So that got you from over there where I was sitting to all the way to the back of the backyard. So here's my garden gloves that I wore totally out cleaning out the garden, and they're double lined, even two pairs there. But I wanted to say one more time that these gloves that Abby got for me called Claws were such a wonderful idea. They had me almost believing that they might work, but actually they're just an idea that somebody needs to take and perfect. There's got to be a market for women that want to have their nails and not lose them every time they garden or clean up, do something really physical in the garden. There must be a way to save our nails. Somebody with some brilliance, please figure that out for us, as these certainly did not work. Sadly did not work. I got my impatience for this little strawberry pot. I decided to do it all in white this year. Sometimes white in the shade is just like lights turned on, and you go to the light, look to the light. So I'm going to try that and see how I like it, and I may go back to the various colors next year, but this year I'm going to try the white. And also I wanted to tell you, how this is breaking loose, but I got some Gorilla Glue spray, Gorilla Glue that you spray on there, and I'm going to try that and see. I think it will help me save it hopefully for a long time to come. I also did find another one, and I found this one at Horse Creek Nursery actually, so I'm hoping to put the little kind of purplish pink impatiens along with strawberry drop coleus in this. I think that is going to make a beautiful showing. And just look over here at this This came in a dormant stage, and I was wondering if it would make it, but it's looking great right now. However, this is a hydrangea. This is a lace cap hydrangea, and the two hydrangeas that I had in the back, I see no sign of them. I think they didn't make it through that cold. Oh, and also my forsythia bushes, my husband trimmed these. Usually they come out with the most beautiful yellow bracts, but this year that cold got them right when they were putting those on. So we didn't get them this year, but they'll be back again another year. So that pretty much catches you up with what's been going on in the garden, and lets you know that I've been busy, and lets you know that there's still so much to do. And that brings us to my neighbor's yard. Actually, this little girl is mine at the end of my seed box, but this beautiful lilac bush behind her is my neighbor's, although we benefit from that wonderful scent every spring. Snowballs are coming on the snowball bush. Little seed box does have a few little seedlings that came up. I planted delphinium over here, and there's something there. I'm hoping it's delphinium, and I hope it'll really work for me. Live and become beautiful, bloom, and just make your heart pitter-patter. The poppy I had in this pot is looking great, but you can see all around it. I had tall Laura phlox, and I don't think it's coming back, it's dead, but I have lots of tall Laura phlox that I can dig up little pieces that need to be divided anyway, so I'm sure I can find some to replace that with if I can find the time to do that. Also, my little burgundy spike Deschandra is dying in the pot inside, so I got another one of these, and because my sister's died too, I got another one for her, and hers probably died because I left it out too late. And then yesterday I left these out more because I just got so physically tired that I couldn't do anymore. But anyway, I know you could come out and take these in, but I didn't think of it until late, and I was just exhausted and didn't do it. But they seem to be doing well. However, I had them look like they did well, and then I bring them in and they didn't do well. But we'll see. I'm hoping they'll still be beautiful. Don't you just love this burgundy and pink color on this? And I wanted to show you these because this is where I put some of that dianthus that I took away from the border, the brick border. So I put those in these little cone planters. I also had to get some new pots because these little pots had gotten, well, the weather had got them to where they were just brittle and fragile and falling apart. And this is the other one at the other end. It's got the dianthus in it too. And I may have already shown you these, but I also used it in these little pots because it doesn't have to have a whole lot of water, and once they get going, right now these need some water to get going good, get their roots down and get going well, and then I think they will be fine all through the summer. I used it here, and I used it right down here in this little pot too, this one right here. And in this little pot here too. I had a chrysanthemum in this, my chrysanthemums in the pots didn't make it, and while I was just transplanting anyway, I just decided to put some in the dianthus in this little girl's pot, and I think it's going to maybe even work better for me. Did I show you this little plant? It's a Japanese maple, and I got it last year around Mother's Day, and I didn't know if it was still there, but it did come back, and I'm so excited about that, and it looks great. I hope it grows up and becomes a great beauty there. So I will see you back again next week. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.